All right, gang. So next element up is bismuth. So bismuth is a pretty dense, yeah, this little piece here is quite heavy. So it's a dense metal. I don't know if you can tell, it's got that nice coating of oxide, which is rust on the skin, on the surface there. It's got like a nice bluish, almost purplish tint to it. Otherwise, when it's not oxidized, if you look in the middle there, it's just gray like any other metal. It's pretty shiny. I'm trying to see if I can show you how not very malleable this is for a metal though. It's quite brittle for a metal. Now don't get me wrong, it is malleable. Like if you heat it up a little and you're careful about bending it, it is malleable. But is it anywhere near as malleable as copper? No. Copper is much more malleable, much softer metal. Bismuth is quite dense and quite brittle. Let's see that again. See? So it snaps. So, really cool thing about bismuth, by the way, you might recognize the name, Bism something. Oh, that's right, Pepto-Bismol. Yes, Pepto-Bismol does contain bismuth. All right, just want to do a quick check on my camera. Ah, that looks great. All right, so here's the cool thing about bismuth. I'm gonna take a bunch of pieces of it here. See the solid? And see what happens if I heat it up. Actually did this in my kitchen before. Yes, I was wearing my goggles at home. Good thing I was. I'll tell you about it another time, but you always wear safety goggles when heating things up, working with chemicals, even at home. All right, let me get my temperature infrared gun ready. Not yet, getting there though. I don't know if you can see it happening. There it goes. Aha, molten bismuth. So I'm going to melt all of this. So there we go. So getting there. Aha. This is the way. By the way, pretty sure they were totally using either gallium or bismuth in The Mandalorian. We'll talk about that more later. All right, so check that out. So if you see that top layer is reacting with oxygen in the air, so it's rusting, and it makes this really cool iridescent layer of rusted or oxidized bismuth. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it. It's like bluish, purplish. Very cool. All right, so I'm gonna melt it thoroughly. Hold on, I want to carefully switch hands here. So bismuth does not have an extremely high melting point for a metal. Let's see if I skim the surface. Do you see that? Look at that. Super cool. So if I skim the surface, get some of that rust layer off. Let's see if I can do that. Anybody want some molten metal soup? Just burn your skin all the way off, but it'll look cool while you're eating it and getting burnt off skin. All right, I'm gonna kill the flame there. So So if I can pull off that top layer of like rust junk, let's see if I can get the top layer off again. So there is something pretty cool that happens. So think about it. We just took a solid substance, heated it up until it turned liquid. That's what melting, that's called melting or fusion, because fusion means melt. So now I'm letting the bismuth cool off. So let me see if I can get a temperature reading while it's cooling off. So this thing is currently saying, I don't know if this is saying 114 Celsius, but I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be much hotter than that. Let me try again. I don't know. Hope this thing's still working properly, because it's giving me, let me check the temperature of the room. The temperature of the room says 28.5 Celsius. I'm trying to get the temperature of the bismuth as it freezes. Let's see. That just said 185.5 Celsius. Now, here's the interesting thing about chemistry. The melting point of any chemical is the same temperature as its freezing point. Think about it, freezing and melting are just opposites of each other. And I don't know if you see it, but look, as I'm letting the bismuth freeze, there's crystals forming, just like ice crystals when you put water in the freezer. Let's see if I can get a cool one. Any nice looking ones? Oh, there we go. That's a pretty cool one. Let me see if I can pull it out. So do you see, let me get one more temperature reading, and then do you see the crystals forming? So if you measure the temperature of a substance as it's freezing, that is the melting point. They're the same thing, the melting point and the freezing point. I'm trying to get one more good temperature reading. What was that other one? 185.5 it said? This is giving me something like 165.5 Celsius. All right, let's see if I can pull any of those out. There we go, check that out. Bismuth crystal. So any true solid is crystals. That's a kind of cool one. I might want to take that one home. This is still hot as heck though. I mean, for a metal, it doesn't have a very high melting point, but it still will burn your skin badly. Here we go, bismuth crystals. All right, look at that. I could tap it out off there without burning myself. There we go. Ooh, still really freaking hot. I feel the heat coming off of it. You see that really nice like bluish layer of oxide? So the bismuth, it doesn't react with oxygen in the air very well, but after heating it, it does. That's that really cool layer that's colorful there. Are you cool enough to touch yet? Oof. Ow, ow, ow. Ooh, ow, 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 ow. Ow. Oh, it's like touching lava right out of a volcano. Yeah, so there you go. Cool looking bismuth crystals. And again, now it's totally frozen, but I don't know. We might have to go with that 185.5 degrees Celsius melting and freezing point that we got. Here we go. Maybe I'll sacrifice a small piece of bismuth to see if it reacts with anything. Let's see. I'm not sure if I've ever even tested this before, so this might be cool. Grab a test tube, a small piece of bismuth. Bismuth is such a cool metal. I almost feel bad trying to do something to it here. But let me get, carefully, let me go get some hydrochloric acid, and then let's see if anything happens. All right. Carefully get a tiny bit of HCl. Let's see if the hydrochloric acid reacts with the bismuth at all. This isn't the strongest acid, but it's also not that weak either. This is a pretty strong concentration I have. It doesn't look like bismuth is reacting. Nope. Okay, here we go. So I'm not really noticing, I don't know, I don't see any bubbling or any gases getting released or any color changes there. So it doesn't look like the bismuth is reacting with the hydrochloric acid. All right, there you go. There's bismuth, one of my favorite metal elements.